going on, Jets fans? Welcome on into the Jets Report. I'm your host, Patrick Seatman, and coming up on today's show, we'll be deep diving into 5 players that you guys need to watch in this Week 1 matchup versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. And if they play well, they could shock the NFL world this upcoming Sunday. But speaking about the game, we are going to be going live for the game an hour before kickoff. It's going to have a tailgate atmosphere, live play-by-play. We'll be doing some giveaways. So if you guys have not already, hit that subscribe button today. Join us an hour before kickoff in this must-see, must-watch matchup between the Jets and the Steelers. So hit that subscribe button today and tune in for our watch party this Sunday. All right, let's talk about these 5 players to watch here. So we're going to start off with Jermaine Johnson. Now, obviously the Jets' identity this year will be built off that defensive line, and Jermaine Johnson is playing a big impact for having that identity. You know, he is coming off that torn Achilles last season, and this will be the first time we are seeing him in action. Did not play during the preseason, so a big question mark is, will he be able to bounce back? Because he had a great start to his NFL career. He was looking like he could have been one of the more premier edge rushers in the National Football League. And the thing I loved about Jermaine is that we just saw the growth from 2022 to 2023. Obviously, he got hurt in 2024 during week 2, so no big sample size there. But, you know, I think people, you can panic a little bit as you see, 2022 stats, nothing really to write home about, only 3 sacks. But he also only played just over 300 snaps that season. But when he was getting some good rotational reps and snaps in 2023, he was special. Had 9 sacks, had a PFF grade of 83.0 and a pass rush grade of 73.7. Now, I have high expectations for Jermaine, but also I do think this will take some time. And it could take time. It's like just the first couple of drives, or maybe he gets stonewalled a couple of times, but then he bounces back, or this could potentially take weeks. It's going to be very interesting to see how he plays that out, but I got a lot of faith in this guy, and I could see him when it's all said and done. He's a household name across the whole NFL world. So we'll talk about Brandon Stephens here, number 2. Jets gave him a pretty decent contract this offseason, 3 years, $36 million. And at the time, I disagreed with the move, considering he was benched by Baltimore this past season. But I will say I was wrong right now, because during the preseason, especially against that game against the New York Giants, he played some good football. He had that unreal pass breakup. It was Wan'Dale Robinson running a corner route on a third and long situation, and Brandon Stephens was running back, saw Wan'Dale peel off that route. He ran with him, had a sweet PBU, and very limited sample size during the preseason, only playing 24 snaps, but he graded out fairly well. 72.3 overall, 72.6 in coverage. So he plays a massive part of this defense, because you look at the CB room here. Like, obviously you got Sauce, he can shut down a single side of the field, but then you're also looking at the guys behind him, like Michael Carter, one of the better nickel corners and slot corners in the league. But then you got Stiggers there, going to be a special teams guy, and then you got the rookie A.Z. Thomas. Clearly the Jets aren't comfortable with putting him out there just yet. So I will say this also, and I don't mean this by saying like, oh, Brandon Stephens is a better matchup on DK compared to Sauce Gardner, but what if the Jets and their defensive game plan this week is Brandon Stephens, you're on DK Metcalf, will always have a safety over a top or a linebacker shading your way, so you get 4 eyes on DK, but then you just have Sauce Gardner go just completely shut down the other wide receiver for the Steelers offense. Don't be shocked if that's the game plan here, but also I wouldn't be shocked if it's just like, hey, Sauce, you're going one-on-one with DK Metcalf the entire game. Then Brandon Stephens is on that second wide receiver, and he's getting some safety help and some linebacker help over the top. So I'll be intrigued to see how the Jets play this and try to handle DK Metcalf, Aaron Rodgers in that secondary. But I got some high expectations for him heading into the Sunday matchup. But you guys let me know, what are you taking? Are you taking the over-under for the Steelers' offensive points? It is set at 19.5 right now. Give me an O for over or give me a U for under. I'll be slamming the under. This might be one of my favorite plays of the weekend, but it's what the bookmakers out west have it set at. 19.5 points for the Steelers offense. You guys let me know what you're thinking down below. Now we'll dive into 3 more names here in just a second. But before we do so, this episode of the Jets Report is brought to you by Prize Picks. And you and I make decisions every day. But on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. So don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. And if you guys download the app today, plug in that promo code CLNS and get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. And that's code CLNS to get those $50 in lineups. Now, Prize Picks is very simple to play. All you got to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections And if you get your picks right, you could cash in. Prize Picks is also the best way to get action on sports in more than 40 plus states, including California, Texas, and Georgia. Prize Picks is very user friendly. All withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. They also offer Venmo, Apple Pay, and MasterCard for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. Now, this is the lineup I'm cooking up for this week one matchup between the Steelers and the Jets. I'm going to have Aaron Rodgers throwing an interception. I'm going to take the less on Justin Fields' pass attempts at 27.5. Mason Taylor more on his 3.5 targets. I think TJ Watt and Will McDonald will both get home to the quarterback and get a sack. This is $20, pays out $400. So make sure you guys include this. If you're trying to tail my picks or if you're trying to fade my picks, just do so at Prize Picks. And if you guys download the app today, plug in that promo code CLNS. We'll hook you guys up with $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Shout out to Prize Picks, though, for sponsoring today's show. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. All right, let's dive into three more players here for this week one matchup versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's going to be a very exciting game, and we're going to keep it in the secondary for a third guy, Andre Cisco. Now, high expectations for this guy, and he needs to be the man in the safety room because, Tony Adams, question mark there. Malachi Moore, even though we're all very high on him, he is still a rookie, and I can't really see him getting too much action during week one. So the New York Jets, they just need Andre Cisco to be productive this season. Now, he had that one bad play against the Giants in the preseason. Bo Collins kind of shook him out of his cleats a little bit, and it was just a typical Russell Wilson moonball. But besides that, he has shown some pop. And if you truly do believe that this Jets front four should be one of the better ones in the National Football League, that should mean he should have some interception or some opportunities on the back end to pick off the football. He's a ball hawking safety, and it wouldn't stun me if he has 4, 5, 6 interceptions on the season. And, talking about him, being the man in this room, like, it's a very thin safety room for the New York Jets. Like, obviously, Cisco man in the free safety. Got Tony Adams as a starter right now at strong safety. But besides that, like Isaiah Oliver, like, he'll be probably all over the field. Could see him playing some nickel corner as well. And then you got Malachi Moore. I'm assuming at least just for week one, he'll just be a special teams guy. So there's no doubt that there is a lot of pressure and there's a lot of faith from the coaching staff on Andre Cisco. They clearly viewed him as one of the top free agents that they brought in during this offseason cycle. So I'm going to be looking at him. And again, I think this game could come down to a couple of deep shots down the field, and that falls on Cisco. If he can make a couple of big-time plays, maybe he has a huge PBU on Calvin Austin or DK Metcalf trying to take a top off the defense. So I'll be looking at him during this week one matchup. And then also Braelon Allen, the running back for the New York Jets. I am so high on this guy heading into the season. I think he's going to have a monster year. I think he is the most talented running back in this room. What he has done this offseason, getting his body in incredible shape. He looks explosive. He falls forward on every single run, and it would not shock me. By the end of the year, when we're talking about who are like the blue chippers for this Jets offense, I could see a situation where Braelon Allen is the second best player on the Jets offense outside of Garrett Wilson. And he is just a piece of this running back room where if the Jets are obviously going to be successful, these three guys have to have monster seasons. Now, I am hoping I am wrong about Breece Hall, but I haven't liked what I've seen from him during the preseason. I love what I saw from Isaiah Davis and Braelon Allen. So, again, it wouldn't shock me if, like, a couple of weeks from now, it's like, oh, Braelon Allen's a no-doubt RB1, and that's Breece Hall and Isaiah Davis falling behind. So we'll see how he plays week one against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And we got to go with Jermaine Johnson's running mate to close it out here, Will McDonald. Now, Will McDonald, I think he's one of the more underappreciated edges in the league. Now, I think a big question mark with him, especially against the Steelers, will be, how well do you set the edge? How well do you, play against the run? But when it is third and long situations, this guy, if he's able to pin his ears back, he can get home to the quarterback at a high level. Having 10.5 sacks this past season, 11 TFLs, which is solid, 2 forced fumbles and a fumble recovery. And could you imagine, first drive of the game, Aaron Rodgers drops back third and long, and it's a Will McDonald strip sack, and maybe Jermaine Johnson picks it up and scores. But these two need to have a day on Sunday because I do have faith in the Jets defense. We stopping the run, getting the Steelers into a bunch of third and long situations. So you're looking at these two guys just to take advantage of those opportunities because they will be there on Sunday. And, especially for Will, you got to assume Jermaine Johnson, it may take him a couple of plays, take him a couple of series to fully get going and kind of get back into the, NFL game feel. So I'm looking at him to have a monster game. That's why in my Prize Picks lineup, got him taking on more than a half a sack. But if you guys made it to the end of today's show, we appreciate you. just give me a J.E.T.S down below in the comments section. You guys watch this entire thing, and we will be live for the game. So tune in then. As always, go Jets.